Hey everyone, welcome back to Knowledge Mondays, your go-to weekly series for quick and actionable networking advice. I'm thrilled to have our guest today, Kari Mirabal. Thank you so much for joining us, Kari. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited about this session. And I'll just start off by sharing I'm an international keynote and a TEDx speaker, and I wrote a book called You Already Have the Know. And I'm the creator of Naked Networking Framework. It's at the core of my work. I teach people how to network smarter, is the easiest way to say it. And I love helping people and professionals communicate with confidence, build authentic connections, and open doors that they may have overlooked. So, my style is very real talk, it's very real strategy, very practical. And I've had the privilege of speaking to audiences across the country and abroad. And it really just it energizes me to help people take bold steps to build relationships and for professional development. So thank you again for this invitation.
Absolutely. Our theme of the month of January is the elevator pitch. And Carrie, my question for you is how do you effectively structure an elevator pitch or value proposition that clearly communicates your value?
So, with respect, I will share with you that I'm not a fan of the phrase elevator pitch, never have. Sometimes it sounds like someone's about to pitch me something I'm not even shopping for. So, in my work, I call it a tell me about yourself statement because networking should feel more human, not transactional. So, that's what I'll be referring to it as a TMA for short with my clients, a tell me about yourself. And I teach a simple structure. The first part is what do you do? The second part is how do you do it? And the third part, when you're crafting this, is what results can someone expect if they choose to network, partner, or work with you? And one of the bonus things to include in a tell me about yourself statement is I encourage people to create a tagline. And so that's like a short, memorable sentence that anchors who you are. So, for example, mine is I teach people how to network smarter. And what I love about taglines and tell me about yourself statements, it sticks in people's mind. It makes introductions easier. It helps people with confidence and it positions your value in a single memorable line. And so taglines should always, when designed, you want them to pique curiosity and invite people to want to ask more questions. So it's not about impressing people, it's about being clear and memorable. So when I'm at an event, and someone says, what do you do? I say, I teach people how to network smarter. And then I wait for them to say, what does that mean? And I travel across the country and abroad, and I speak at conferences and master classes at corporations. And I help people get from point A to point B faster, especially people who don't like talking to strangers, which is a big part of my work. A lot of people don't like networking. So I have my work cut out for me.
Good. And so to clarify, is your tagline I help people network smarter? And do you recommend someone says a tagline first and then wait for the other person to respond and then you can say more information?
Really just there's no right or wrong. It really depends on the audience. So if if it's a quick interaction with somebody in line at Starbucks or something, I may just go with the tagline. But if it's a formal introduction or I'm doing some consulting at a company and they ask me to introduce myself, or let's say if it's a job interview, you want to have the full tell me about yourself statement. So really just use discernment on whether to go short or long, but the tagline should be part of the tell me about yourself statement. And really, I have clients in all industries, and so the tagline is really powerful. I have a client that's a lawyer, and his is I help companies avoid legal disaster. So, it's very just like to the point, and helps people understand what you're about. And a lot of people don't get that in networking, it's also about marketing. So in my Naked Networking framework, we cover three core principles. The first one is mindset. Is your mind right to be able to give and receive information to others in a mutually beneficial arrangement? We talk about common mistakes people make and solutions, and then we talk about marketing. And a lot of people don't realize how much of this is about marketing your personal brand. And that's a
It's
really
so important.
great topic for you to have on your podcast for sure.
Good. So another question I have is that should people worry about their elevator pitch or value proposition? Yeah, you know what I mean by that. But should they worry about it being coming across as too rehearsed, or is that not an issue people need to really worry about?
In my work, it's really interesting because a lot of people do express their fear of it coming across too rehearsed. But preparation isn't the problem. It's delivering it with personality that sometimes trips people up. So I always say preparation leads to confidence. So you want to be confident in how your message is landing. And like anything, you want to memorize your what, how results and your tagline. And you want to have that structure without, I would say, locking it into a script. So what happens is you keep your message grounded, but you can present it in a conversation that feels clear. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And sometimes there are variations. So for example, when depending on the audience, instead of saying I teach people to network smarter, sometimes I'll say, you know how people feel uncomfortable talking to strangers for the first time? And people go, yes.
Mhm.
And I'll say, I fixed that. So you really just have to have a couple of ways to explain what you do and use the discernment depending on the audience, big, small, one-on-one in a group setting, um, to be so comfortable to deliver it clearly. So there's no right or wrong, black or white, one, two, three. It's not about perfection, it's progress. What do
I agree. And I know you mentioned discernment a couple of times. Could you tell the audience a bit more about that? Can you give them any tips on using discernment to decide how to share their what you do statement?
Right. When I'm in front of an audience of like 5, 7, 8,000 people, I will always go with the longer introduction that I teach people how to network smarter. What I do is this, how I do is this, and the results of working with me is this. When I'm at a networking event and it might be one-on-one and it's a little bit more of a casual environment, that's when I might just say, oh, I teach people how to network smarter. What do you do? And I think it's important to always reciprocate when you're in those environments to make sure that your give and take, you're sharing, but you're also inviting other people to share a little bit about themselves too. So again, I would say job interviews or formal introductions, if you're getting ready to do a presentation at your company, those are going to be a little bit more formal.
Got it. Okay. Now, my last question for you is how do you recommend someone rehearses their what you do statement so it feels natural and they can build more confidence delivering it?
Sure. And that's a really good question because the advice I give people is say it out loud again and again, because the only way you really know how it's going to sound is doing it like in the car or in the shower, get your reps in wherever you can practice, say it to a friend, see if it rolls off your tongue. And as you're doing that, another option is you can always record yourself and listen for where you may be rambling or over explaining and then trim it so that it sounds like something you'd say in a real conversation. I always tell people when you're networking, talk to people like you're having dinner with them, not unprofessional, but a little bit more on the casual side. So it's not something that feels like you memorized under pressure. And I do a lot of that work with my individual coaching clients because they practice it and it sounds like they're delivering a line at a play.
Yeah.
Oh, just have a strong statement, be confident, make it conversational and be clear in the delivery is probably the three core points I'd focus on.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Carrie. This was very helpful. If folks want to learn more about you, how could they reach you?
Sure, they can find me on LinkedIn or my website is just my name, karimirabal.com. I'm on all the social channels, so everybody's invited to engage with me. And if they have further questions, I'd love to help answer.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a follow and share with some friends who could benefit from this. Bye, everyone. Thank you.